You're listening to Diminishing Returns, the podcast about sequels, prequels, spin-offs, and reboots. I'm Chris Scott. Across from me, he's the man that puts the woe into woke film criticism. It's Mr. Alan Johnson.
How do pod people?
Let me be clear, I in no way describe what we do seriously as criticism. I need to be very clear on that. Yes, this is another one of our in-betweeny episodes, our non-franchise episodes, where instead of looking at a franchise, we look at like sequel news and just basically whatever the fuck we want. We normally start, as is tradition, handed down from our pod fathers, with the news, which, as ever, Alan will have diligently researched, and I won't have, because I am a busy man. And frankly, guys, you're lucky I do this at all for you. You're welcome. So, what have we got for the news, Al?
Well, it's a fairly short news segment this evening.
Nice.
That's because I've moved one of the news segments to be a game for us to play later.
Yay! I like games. Do you like games? Oh yeah, like quizzes,
Cluedo,
Monopoly,
crosswords, Sudoku,
Hungry Hippos,
Pie Face.
Should we just name games for the next?
Operation.
Yep. I like Patriot games.
Night games.
Funny games.
2 good films.
Hunger Games.
4 movies based on 3 books.
Is that right? Well, they split the last one. I've only seen the first one. It's quite good, but
YA fiction. It was big for a while there.
It does sound like that's like Geordie fiction. YI fiction, man. What's that? Are you like, did the character of Spender, early 90s BBC show, walk in here? No, it was just me, guys. Just a man of 1,000 voices. Back again. Boom. So news.
Yeah, it's with a heavy heart, Chris, that we have to reinstate Ridley Watch. I
saw something about this on Twitter, and I'm not going to lie, I was so lazy I didn't even really click the link for our own Twitter page. But I'm going to assume, is this some sort of Gladiator sequel?
Ridley Scott is officially developing a sequel to Gladiator. So obviously he's returned to his biggest hit of the last 20 years.
Loved that film.
Maximus is unlikely to return, so Russell Crowe doesn't look like he's going to be involved, and it's unlikely they're going to reuse the previously written Nick Cave script.
That also would have had Maximus
Crowe,
travelling through time.
The underworld, I believed it
was.
I thought he had to battle his way through the underworld.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he was basically in whatever the Roman equivalent of hell was and had to battle his way through to get to his wife and son.
I like that idea.
It's fucking brilliant, isn't it?
Also, I like the idea that he's gone to hell.
Yeah.
So see that hero of the film? He went to hell. Sucks, right? I want that Nick Cave sequel.
Absolutely.
I don't want whatever Ridley's going to do, which I'm assuming is going to involve fucking playing flutes and big bald dudes.
There's these giant blue gladiators, and they were the first gladiators.
Aye.
No, apparently it's the character that was Joaquin Phoenix's nephew in the first film. It's tracking him as an adult.
Which I think is, to be honest, when I watched Gladiator, I was like, oh, boo, fucking Russell Crowe fighting dudes. Oh, Joaquin Phoenix. I was like, what I really want to know is what's happening to his nephew.
That's a small kid here.
This is a whole... For 20 years I've been thinking, what happened to the nephew? A character that I definitely remember everything about. I remember the storyline and him being there. Yes, his name was not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
No. So Ridley Watch is back underway, and bear with us while we grind out Gladiator 2, people.
Yeah, it's not good.
However, in some good news, New Line Cinema have bought the rights to a couple of foreign language films which are going to get American remakes. So we have The Train to Busan, but also a recommendation that you made in this show a few months back, The Man from Nowhere. Now,
yeah, that's a great film.
Yeah. Now, John Wick creator Derek Kolstad is set to adapt The Man from Nowhere.
Right, okay. It's basically a John Wick film.
Yeah, I presume once he gets John Wick 3 Parabellum out of the way, because that comes out in May 2019, so we're very close to a John Wick sequel.
I'm so close to something, I'll tell you right now.
Rounding out what's got to be a beautiful trilogy. And so, yeah, that's New Line got 2 foreign language remakes that are going to be happening.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know if that's good news. We already have those films, and I haven't seen Train to Busan, though I've got it on my planner. I have heard great things about it from yourself and other people, so that's why I'm watching it, because if you recommend something, I'm not going to lie, I'm like, I need a second source on this. I'm very much like the Washington Post, proper journalism here. And actually, it's weirdly pointless to have the John Wick guy, as much as I love John Wick. The Man from Nowhere is basically like a Korean John Wick film.
Yeah.
So, I get why they're doing that. Like, well, we've already got a kind of John Wick style film made in America. It's called John Wick. Yeah. And we already have a Korean John Wick style film. It's called The Man from Nowhere. Why are we getting the John Wick? The guy, I don't know. But you know what? I will happily stand corrected if they are balls out, genius, gonzo masterpieces. Yeah. So yeah, tentatively, we'll see.
Just apropos of nothing, but John Wick 3, Parabellum. A Parabellum is a type of semi-automatic gun.
I thought it was the bit between like your balls. And something else.
As your perineum.
That's what it is, yeah. No, is that yeah, is the
perineum? Or your taint.
Your taint, yeah. Yeah, John Wick 3, taint. That would be amazing.
Well, a lot of people are dealing with a Halloween hangover, so there's some horror news. George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead is set for a sequel based on a script that was written in the 1970s and went unproduced. It was written by...
Morning of the Living Dead.
Well, I mean, like, we got Dawn and Day.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the only one that they've not done in it.
Twilight of the Dead, that's where they cross over with sparkly vampires.
Nice.
So, interesting that the team behind the original script, written 40 years ago...
What do you think a vampire's comes like? Like, because she gets pumped by a vampire in that film, right? I've never seen it. And by the way, before somebody starts trying to recommend that we watch that, you can fuck right off. But like, because they're dead, right? So like, can he come?
Well,
is it just like dusty fucking, like a dusty cough?
Imagine
a dusty cock cough?
If Lugosi was to ejaculate, it would just be like a dried cobweb. But within the Twilight universe, she changed so much vampire lore. I mean, they essentially weren't vampires. They could go out in daylight and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
So, she changed
and they
can
now
like come make babies.
Come like the thunder gushing out. It's like gooey shame.
Probably with sparkles.
Yeah, you're right. Probably, yeah. But it's just like a dead guy's jizz. That is the important question. Please, if you have read the Twilight books or seen the Twilight films and you have an opinion on vampire jizz, please email us at diminishingpod@gmail.com. Something I really want to know.
Yeah.
George A. Romero. Yeah, he's dead. He doesn't jizz either. Segway. Thanks, guys.
Rim segue.
That's why I'm a great broadcaster, guys.
So it's the 50th anniversary of Night of the Living Dead.
Nice.
This Night of the Living Dead film is actually slated for release next year. So
the classic 51st anniversary.
Really.
So you really want to? Has he not got loads of scripts?
Well, that's the thing. There was news also that he left behind almost 50 scripts reportedly, and a novel called The Living Dead. And he also...
What's that about? Fly Fishing by George A. Romero. That's another one for the youth vote there with that reference.
But also a previously unreleased film from 1973. Now, obviously, the early 70s, George was trying different things. So he did like he did Season of the Witch, and There's Always Vanilla, which were not overtly horror films.
Which There's Always Vanilla? Wait, hold on. How's a film called Season of the Witch by George A. Romero not a horror film?
It's not an out-and-out horror film. Yeah, they're more sort of...
Well, hold on. You've already started to roll back. You firstly said it's not a horror film, and now you're saying it's not an out-and-out horror film. Yeah, hold on now. What's it about?
Hang on, I'm going to have to fudge this here. I didn't think we were going to get down this road.
Good. Keep this in, because you know what, mate? This is some journalistic integrity. That's what I have, my friend. I'm not like you. You're fake news. Fox News, Canary, Daily Mail, Squawk Box, looking for clicks. I'm not going to stand for that, man. I'm somebody who cares about journalism, and I want to know what vampires jizz like.
So, Season of the Witch, a bored housewife's life spins out of control after she begins to dabble in the occult.
Wait, dabble in the what?
Occult.
Oh, so that's a horror film?
No.
Oh, no, it's just about a woman dabbling in the occult and becoming a witch. No, you're right. That's not a horror film. That has no horror elements to it. You've literally used the word occult. I mean, you used it wrongly, but you used it. Alan, cut the goddamn shit, man.
And then there's always Vanilla.
Which is about a Frankenstein and a vampire who go on a bloody... But it's not horror. No, what's it about?
A pregnancy complicates a couple's life when she considers secretly having an abortion.
See, now that's not a horror film. That's obviously a comedy.
It depends which side of the political divide you're on.
Listen, I'm all for vanillas.
So
Basically, you were wrong.
Just around...
No, Alan, admit it. Just, we're all friends here. Al, I'm just saying, right? You said that these two fucking films, they're not horrors. And I was like, wait, one of them's called Season of the Witch. That's almost certainly a horror. And then when you described it, it's about a woman becoming a witch. That's a horror film.
Dabbling.
So I want you to just...
Hubble, bubble, double, dabble.
Can you...
I believe from Shakespeare.
Yep. Just for me, if you could just ram that right up your hole. If you could just take what you said there and ram it right up your ringer. Because you were just wrong.
Consider it rammed.
And in a way... That makes me right. Just not that we're keeping score.
Anyway, that film, which may or may not be a horror, depends how much dabbling's going on, but one of the scripts is already in production and it's called Road of the Dead. So I'm noticing a real theme to George Romero's work here.
Is this where, like, there's a zombie Bob Hope and Bing Crosby?
Oh, wouldn't that
be the best?
Wouldn't that be
brains. Wait, hold on. I now really, actually, genuinely, I want to see that film now. I love the road movies and I love zombies.
Although that last one that had Viggo Mortensen in it, that was a real downer. Eh?
Yeah, that's right. Man, they really missed Bob Hope in this one, though.
A woefully miscast Mortensen tries to fill the shoes of Hope.
Oh, fucking hell.
Night of the Living Dead is the touchstone in horror cinema.
Yeah.
It's incredible, really resonant, it will always be relevant.
I called with my first band the Romeros, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Like maybe only for like a two-week period or something. We're like trying to figure out what names we call. I'm certainly pitched. But yeah, I think that's a really good film. And I think there was an article in the AV Club talking about how what actually is maybe his biggest contribution to cinema is not the horde of zombie films that followed, but actually he was one of the first independent film successes.
Yeah.
And that he was a real trailblazer for that, which of course was much bigger than just zombie films. But I think those first 3 Dead movies are great.
Unbelievably great. Maybe
not the one, is it the fourth one with like Dennis Hopper and shit?
The fourth one's Land of the Dead, then there's Survival of the Dead, then there's Diary of the Dead.
I've only seen
those.
I bailed out at the Dennis Hopper one, which was all right. It wasn't terrible, but those first 3 have a real kind of, the first one was the kind of local thing happening, and then the second one is the consumerist thing, consumerist America, and then the third one's kind of them thinking that with military might, the humans are going to fucking totally ace this again, and of course they underestimate the power of the zombies. Spoiler alert for any zombie film you've ever fucking seen. But those 3 films, like, they have like a kind of thematic undercurrent.
But even the Tom Savini remake of Night of the Living Dead is pretty good.
I've not seen that.
It's worth a watch. Are you glad that potentially this sequel is being made? Is there
No,
anything
like
you?
I don't.
Is there anything you'd like to see from it?
Could we make the zombies like run, and it to be like Brad Pitt's in it? No, wait, hold on, this has been done, hasn't it? Yeah, because I think those 3 felt it was the classic. They had a perfect arc, and I don't really need to see any more. And I like other zombie things, but I just feel like it's unnecessary. It's when you've got a great band and they make 3 great records, and then they just make variations on that last record, and you go, I'll buy it, I'll go see them when they come round, but it's never going to be as good. It's just another copy of something that is just every time it's slightly worse. There's less and less surprises. But fair enough, it's, and there's people like you who will go and see every single one of these things. So fair play, but it's just for me, I have no great need to see another Dead film. But I assume you're fucking like creaming your little pants over it, right?
No, I'd be interested.
Like a vampire. You're creaming your pants like a vampire.
I'd be really interested to know what ideas are in the script. So it'd be interesting to know where they intended on taking the story
at the time.
If I'm honest, I'd like to see it made as a period piece
with women. Every time I will make that joke. Yeah, I mean, again, that would give it some sort of
a retro, because obviously it is, I imagine, going to be slow zombies.
zombie jizz.
No, that's going to be like a maggot. Just
Oh, gross. Please, I was just trying to have a respectful conversation about fucking horror things. You know, dead people's jism, and you're making it gross now, Alan. And I really wish, you know, you would just maybe grow up a little bit, okay, mate?
okay. Apologies for being wrong.
Thank you.
Misjudging a jism joke.
Thank you. This is no place for jokes. We are talking about dead guys. Exactly. Slow. That's what's great about slow zombies. They're always gonna get you.
Yeah, it's just a tide, a relentless tide.
Which is like my jism.
Let's just leave the news there.
Let's just wipe down the news. Let's just roll off the wet patch of news onto the dry land of what, Alan?
The dry land of the Avatar sequels, Chris. So, when we launched this podcast back in the day, we chatted about how from 1999 up until today, the highest grossing film of each year had always been a sequel, prequel, reboot, spin-off every year since 1999, and The Phantom Menace, with two exceptions, Frozen and Avatar. Now we have a date for the Frozen sequel, so that's about to become a franchise.
They didn't let it go.
They certainly did not. And Avatar has 4 sequels announced. Now, I didn't want to talk about this in news because I want to turn it into a little game. They have released the subtitles of the 4 Avatar films.
Okay.
Now, without using sexual language.
Wait, what? I want to talk about Blue Guy's Jizz.
I know you do. That's immediately where you're going to go. I would like you to tell me, because you have the advantage of me, my friend. I have never seen Avatar, the most successful film of all time, because I'm just that kind of arsehole who, because it's so successful, I will never watch it.
100%, that's very on brand with you, Johnson. I can 100% categorically agree you are that guy.
I will give you the subtitle of the film.
Yeah.
You're going to give everyone a brief précis of what you think that film is about.
Right, but here's the thing, and I need to be very clear here. A large part of Avatar is about him pumping.
I know.
I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of weird blue alien fucking going on in that film. For a film that, let's be very clear, it's not like they were like, boy, this film's only like 60 minutes long, all the action pieces, we better just shoehorn some fucking in there.
Exactly.
It's like it's a long film, and there's a lot of fucking.
From what I know about it, it was basically just the Legend of Fern Gully, but with...
I've never seen that, but
much,
it
much bigger.
sounds about right. A Fern Gully is also a great euphemism for a vagina. Sorry, go on.
The first sequel, apparently due in December 2020,
I can't wait.
will be called Avatar: The Way of Water.
Oh, The Way of Water. That's kind of like got a kung fu vibe about it, I like. Do you know what I mean? You got to be like water.
That would be a brave direction
Do you
to
know what
take
I mean?
it. I would like that.
Like
yeah.
blue fucking dudes just like fly kicking cunts.
Great.
I'm into that.
Then that would be followed by The Seed Bearer.
Alan.
Yes.
That's about fucking. That is literally The Seed Bearer. It's about him getting his big blue hair dong right up her, right? Because that, and again, when you're going big blue hair dong, that doesn't make any sense. It's in the film, and it doesn't make any sense, but it's in the film. I didn't just make that shit up. Like their hair fucking intertwines in some weird shit, and like I don't fucking know. It's been years since I've seen it, but it's fucking weird, man. It's some weird fucked up sex thing. So that's what the Seed Bearer's about.
Okay, that last one, that was a gimme, you know, so
Okay.
but keep it clean for this next
I mean,
one.
that's what she's going to be saying. Give me some of that blue man seeds.
So just keep it clean for this one. It's called The Tolkien Rider.
Nope. That's also about fucking. He's a rough rider.
And finally, we will get The Quest for Iwa.
Iwa. Actually, I can't answer this. Is Blue Guys come? So James Cameron's just obsessed with hey, blue guys fucking.
It sounds
fucking the blue people.
It sounds a lot like it.
I mean, I have never watched that film again, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have no need to watch that film again. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be 4 fucking sequels to it.
It's crazy.
No, hard pass.
Do you know that I pray every night that he would escape?
What the hell did you do that for?
So I can kill him.
We've had Halloween come out, a giant success, smashing records. Horror's really hitting the mainstream, but
By the way, I heard it was a great horror film.
Okay.
It's called Season of the Witch.
Right.
It's about a woman that dabbles in the occult.
Dabbles, you say?
You should check it out.
Okay.
I hear it's the most horror film of all time.
What I like is when people are just on the periphery and just dabbling.
Just a little dab dab.
just
a touch.
Dabble.
Yeah, you're a witch. I'm witchish. You know, I'm a witch on my father's side. You know,
Just just on the weekends.
Yeah,
through the day,
yeah.
I like to keep it vegan.
Like, I go to Christmas witch mass.
Although whenever I write the word magic, I always put a K instead of the C, and that's how everyone knows.
I actually wasn't sure if you were doing that in character or that. I was about to be like, fuck off, Alan. I was like, oh wait, no, maybe he's still doing the bit. Sorry,
I'm still in the bit.
You're keeping me on my toes. That's it. That's what keeps the relationship fresh, right? You know.
So yeah, Halloween. Do you want to talk about it
This,
here?
yeah, I mean,
I have I have thoughts.
I mean, obviously. So we'll segue this into Halloween.
So we'll keep it spoiler free because the film is still relatively new out. So we'll be as vague as possible, and we won't reveal more than you would maybe have seen in the trailer.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Yeah, we're going to be so vague, guys. You're not even going to be sure that we've seen the film, which would be my recommendation for this episode, where we always give our recommendations usually at the end. But if we want to get into Halloween, because we're just after Halloween just now.
Yep.
Let's get into it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the first maybe hour was gangbusters. Like, I am loving this. And then there's a kind of little half twisty bit that happens that you were kind of expecting, but you're hoping, don't do this, because this is going to be a bit lame. That happened, and that kind of annoyed me for a solid 10-15 minutes. And then,
right,
like it kind of really made me go, why did they do that? They were going so well. It was really good up to this point. And then it kind of filtered back to being relatively entertaining again, but not quite as good as that first hour.
Right.
But it's still really good and really enjoyable all the way through. Nice callbacks to the original film, and I really enjoyed it. Apart from that really annoying bit, which is still getting to me, which I don't think we can really talk about. Like, if you've seen it, you know the bit I'm talking about, and you just go, God, you kind of ran out of ideas there, didn't you guys? That's my thoughts on it.
I liked it. It was decent. I have issues. I actually have quite a lot of issues with it. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Certainly up there. One of the best Halloween sequels.
I've only seen 1 and 2.
Right. 2.
And obviously the new one. Yeah.
I think 2's pretty great. It's a lot nastier than Halloween. You know, Halloween is not particularly bloody. It's pretty low body count.
Yeah.
And
it's more tension. I feel like I'm not missing much by not seeing any of the other sequels. Apart from 3, what's that one called?
Season of the Witch.
Oh yeah, that's a good name for a horror film.
It's when they dabbled in an alternative storyline without Michael Myers.
But I've heard that's actually quite good as long as you're not expecting a Michael Myers film.
It's fucking great.
Yeah. So,
but
that's the only one that I've in the years, and we've said this in this podcast before, and we both agree on this. Halloween is one of the best films ever made. It's an absolute all-timer, heavy hitter classic.
Amy Nicholson has an 8-part podcast about Halloween and the story behind the making of the 78 one, and right up to 2018. Listening to that podcast, it really impacted on me how important that movie Halloween is to me personally, and how good it is as a film.
It's an absolute masterpiece. But then I wonder, because obviously other than Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which people I think recently has gone a kind of reappraisal of, like, actually it's just everyone was upset because it wasn't what we expected, but actually this is a really good fucking film. No one's ever been like, here man, you know what you need to see? Halloween 5. Nobody's ever been like, oh no dude, like, it's fucking good. You know, it's just been like, yeah, you've seen enough. At no point when I've expressed my love for Halloween has anyone went, well, you think that's good? You know, it's always just been like, yep, you saw the one you need to see, nothing else to see. So do you think that your thoughts and how you enjoyed the film was maybe affected by the fact that they were so like, no, we're ditching all the other sequels, and so like, were you thinking this is going to be like as good as the first one?
No, because, you know, as we've just spoken about with 3, and then the ending of 4 into 5, you know, stuff that goes on in 6, then to H20, that franchise itself likes to reinvent and jettison big portions of what's come before throughout the franchise. So for them to get to this new film and just be like, no, like everything after the first one hasn't happened, I was okay with it. I think though it leads to a big issue that they have, because obviously the thing about Laurie Strode being Michael's sister appears in the second film, that runs for the rest of the franchise, but retconning the sister thing takes away some of Michael's motivation, because then in this film he appears directionless. I'm not sure where he's going. I'm not sure why he's going there. Even for them just to have said he's going home, he's going back to the Myers house, that would have been enough for me, but there's no... It was muddied for me. Was he on the trail of Laurie? Was he retracing old steps?
Yeah.
Where was he going?
I kind of enjoyed it more of the kind of, he's just this fucking brutal killing machine now. He's just been sitting there. He never got to kill the girl he wanted to kill, and he's just been sitting there for, you know, whatever it is, 40 years or whatever, with this like bloodlust. And now it's just like, yep, I'm out. Let's just start murdering folks. And I find that kind of a bit more scary. That kind of just like, oh, it's just random. Yep, he just walked. You happen to have your door open and you get murdered. I find that more scary than everybody's related. Like, that's the sort of, I know, and I know that's not necessarily your criticism is the everybody's related thing, but I don't like it when, oh, by the way, that's his sister, and you're like, oh, fucking, you know, that obviously wasn't the case in the first one and things like that. And I think that there's just like, to me, it was just this random dude that's just been like desperate to kill, and finally he's got released, and now he's just like, fill your boots.
No, I totally agree, because it's not scary. If I'm watching that film, they say, oh, he's after Laurie because she's his sister, then I go, I'm not related to Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I'm fucking cool.
As far as I'm, hold on, Mum.
Exactly.
Mum, what?
It's not like I'm on Who Do You Think You Are and worried that my genealogy is going to sync up with the Myers. So I don't need it to be the sister, but I did just need some kind of, here's where he's going, here's why he's going.
I think it's
there.
just because he is going back to that town, but it's never, I don't know if it's really explicitly stated. You're right.
From the trailer, certainly, or I was certainly hoping that it was Laurie had been the prey in the first film, and now she was going to be the hunter and turn the tables on Myers. It sort of sold you that in the trailer, and I didn't feel it really gave you that in the movie. But I'll take Jamie Lee Curtis all day long. Judy Greer was brilliant.
I've actually thought everybody was great in it.
Andy Matichek.
Right, the young lassie that's in it. Yeah. Like, she was great. But even like her like lunkhead boyfriend, the slightly dweeby best friend of him, the wee black kid. I know a few people have said like, oh, it kind of, because it's quite funny, and that kind of broke a bit of the tension for them. But I thought it was at the right time that we'd had enough tension. This wee guy's cool as fuck.
The characters are well drawn, but I just think for a film that so much has been pressed upon it about an all-female finale, it spends so much of the build-up of this movie to keep the three female leads separated instead of bringing them towards this like big conclusion. So I feel that was a bit of it's one of the better sequels, maybe the third best sequel for me.
So that's after 2, or is that after Season of the Witch? A horror film.
It's after H2O, which personally for me, that deals with someone who survived a terrible event and is dealing with trauma probably better than
I've not seen that. Next time it's on telly I will watch it, because a lot of people said that they said it maybe isn't that great, but the way they tie it up, because they expected that to be the last one, was really nicely done. Obviously I've not seen it, so don't spoil it for me. That film from fucking 20 years ago or whatever. I would say seeing it in the cinema was good. When you go see a good tense horror film,
horror films,
if it ends there, it's a lovely little ending. It won't because they like money. Anything else you've got to say about Halloween?
The credits were
brilliant.
Awesome. The new score is by John Carpenter,
score's
and his band is incredible.
Yeah.
I would have expected more from a Miramax film made in the Me Too era, making comment on women who have survived a brutal assault by a man and how they recover and deal with that trauma.
So basically, like you'd rather have went to the cinema and watched like Breaking the Waves rather than a horror film. Cool. All right. I mean, maybe when I go to the cinema want to have a good time and not have to watch like some woman dealing with trauma for fucking an hour and a half. Fine. Maybe you and I want different things from our entertainment. If anything, I think it's creepy you want to see that. I don't know, but fuck you, man. There was some dude out there just murdering motherfuckers, and it made me go, ooh.
I'm so conflicted on it because I really enjoyed it.
But you can't enjoy anything now unless it's got a social message that drags it down.
Absolutely.
And you're like, ugh.
Yeah, maybe what I inferred from the trailer, I had built up in my head as an image to where this movie was going to go, like, and it didn't go that way.
Why wasn't there a Bernie Sanders cameo? Why are him and Jeremy Corbyn not singing the red flag? Well, fucking, they create a new Soviet era, Alan. The only thing I have to say anymore on Halloween is, what workout regime was Michael Myers doing in the insane asylum? Because that guy must be like, what, fucking late 50s minimum?
Yeah.
Motherfucker had some core strength. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's on foot for a lot of it, doing a lot of distance, and he's lifting up motherfuckers. I want to see a DVD extra of, the Michael Myers fitness plan. That's somebody who's committed to being the best they can be. I would like to see that workout video. Let's fight the obesity epidemic with the lessons we've learned from horror films.
Oh, what better message to leave that section with?
Beautiful. Well, am I right in thinking that we're about to go to our favourite section?
Yeah, you know it.
Our favourite section of any non-franchise episode is, of course, Trailer Talk. Bum, bum, bum. So, Alan,
Yep.
tell me, have we got any exciting trailers to look at this week?
No.
Well, guys, that was Trailer Talk. Bum, bum, bum. Not going to lie, it's a lot better than usual. We should maybe do that more often. What do you want to do next? We've got anything else? Straight on our recommendations?
Just send the recommendations.
So, Alan, what is your recommendations for our dear listeners?
Well, I have watched loads of stuff. It's been great. Something we talk about a lot, the maker of the Raid films.
Yes, he's got a film out on Netflix, I believe.
We've always said, wouldn't it be great if someone just gave him a bit of money? We've seen what he can do with a tiny budget. Let's give him a bit of money, see what he does. He's made Apostle, which is pretty good.
Excellent. It's on my watch list.
Hints of The Wicker Man and all that kind of, pretty
Nice.
folksy, and it's horror, but it's worth a watch. I watched a movie directed by Tom McLaughlin, who also directed Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, called One Dark Night, which starred Adam West and Meg Tilly. Really weird, 80s horror movie. It's a curio, but certainly worth a watch.
Right.
It was gets pretty bonkers at the end.
Oh, wow.
But Netflix long-form TV shows at the moment, I have been in hog heaven. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, yeah.
I'm loving.
Everyone says it's great, but I'm just going to point out I think it's creepy you're watching it.
It's brilliant. I used to really fancy Aunt Zelda when it was Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah. There was one of them was really hot.
Yeah.
I was assuming it's the same one. Yeah.
I like the Aunt Zelda. Sabrina is great. Cast are great. The production design's really interesting. Some weird directorial choices, which I'm really liking. The Satanic Temple have been annoyed that they appropriated a Baphomet, which means that there might be some legal trouble. Appropriating their culture, I believe, is the issue. But The Haunting of Hill House, based on Shirley Jackson's book of the
Everyone
same
says
name,
that's been brilliant.
is absolutely brilliant. I love The Haunting. I think it's my all-time favourite horror film from 1963, covered on a recent Spotlight podcast. It is my favourite horror film of all time. I love the book Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, and this is everything I want from a modern adaptation of that. There are so many savvy nods to the source, but it's sort of its own thing, and it's couched in the same thematic elements to the book. Good, scary, 10s across the board.
Wow.
So just to recap, of everything, I'm recommending. One Dark Night, directed by Tom McLaughlin. Apostle, which is on Netflix, along with Sabrina and The Haunting of Hill House.
Did a wee joke about Sabrina the Teenage Witch in our last improv show in Glasgow.
Oh.
Which I believe is available to view on our Facebook, Improv Killed My Dog.
Oh.
If you find us on Facebook. So for me,
Uh-huh.
so the only film I've seen recently is Halloween and Friday the 13th part fucking what was it, part fucking 7 and 8? Yeah, so I mean, thanks to you, I've not had a good fucking experience of watching films recently, frankly. However, if we're talking about Netflix stuff, I'm one episode away from finishing Luke Cage season 2. I don't know if we mentioned it on air.
You and I
we
were
talked
just
about
talking
it.
about that. Yeah.
That's right. We talk off air as well, guys. I loved it. It was great. Jamaican gangsters trying to take
we
over
know from our
Harlem.
Predator 2 episode that you love that.
I do. I grew up in a reggae-loving household as well, Some really nice wee touches in this that I enjoyed the first season. I thought the first season was really good, and I really enjoyed the second season. And I tell you what I do really like about it is it's obviously coming from a black American perspective. And it's not a huge, big thing, because it's still a superhero show and it's still fun. It's not like what you would want, which would be like a 12-hour lecture series. But, they touch upon things like people being racist within people of colour, like oh, that person's got darker skin or that person's got lighter skin. And wee things that I obviously have no experience of. But it's touched in this thing while also being cool and fun. I've got one episode to go. So if the last episode is a piece of shit, please do not blame me. It's like the last episode was like, it didn't mean nothing matters. And it's just like, wait, what? So I would really recommend that. An announcement was made about the long-awaited new Deadwood.
Yes. Production underway.
Started production on that. I cannot say this enough. If you've never seen Deadwood, it's the greatest TV show of all time. For me, it's that and The Simpsons. Those are the two untouchable pillars of my television watching life. It takes a bit of time to get into because they speak in, frankly, a weird kind of iambic pentameter while also swearing and also lying all the time. It feels like for the first few episodes, they're all just lying to each other at cross purposes. So you've got to figure out, so you've basically kind of got to go, well, that character's saying that to character B, but I think he's lying. Character B's probably lying to character A. So not only do you have to figure out, once you get past the arcane language and the rhythm and the speech and parse it out from all the swear words and everything else.
Hats that frankly look quite similar.
Yep. And then once you've parsed it and can understand the actual thing they're saying, you then have to then figure out the subtext of what they're saying. But it rewards you immensely. You can't be on your phone while you're watching it. You can't be thinking about it. You can't be doing the ironing. You need to sit down and watch it. But if you do it, 3 seasons of absolute greatness, some of the most amazing acting, storylines, and it's also fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many times you laugh out loud more than most comedies, while also then heartbreaking drama will be happening. It's the best TV show of all time, in my opinion, and we're getting ready for a new one. Get yourselves caught up. I probably will do a rewatch at some point, and I can't wait. And to round off my recommendations, I'd like to recommend a horror film. It's called Season of the Witch.
Definitely dabbling
up. Okay. Good. So yeah, listen, this was a fun episode.
Unusual.
We ditched the whole segment because frankly, Hollywood, you need to up your game. I mean, all we can really hope is that for next time there's some sort of new Medea film. That's all. That's all I'm at. I mean, hopefully, I don't know. It's probably never going to happen. The chances of that are what, like 1 billion to 1?
I mean, where are we in the Medea cinematic universe?
Who knows, man? Who knows? The MCU. That's what the MCU is. The Medea cinematic universe. That's great. Guys, as ever, if you want to contact us, you can get us an email at diminishingpod@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are at diminishingpod. On Facebook, we are Diminishing Returns Podcast. You can tag us at Diminishing Returns Pod on Facebook. On Instagram, we're Diminishing Pod. We have a blog at diminishingpod.wordpress.com. Did you put up your timelines bullshit on that?
No, the Friday the 13th timeline was reserved only for Twitter followers.
Oh, yeah. So just in case you are a mental case and want to fucking see a whole timeline of Jason Voorhees' adventures, that is on our Twitter page somewhere.
I was very proud of that.
By the way, it got a lot of traction from what I can only describe as other weirdos like you. I mean, thanks guys. I love it when anyone engages with us. We do enjoy this show, and I love doing this show, and I thank everyone for listening. But I do also think some of you are a bit weird. I can think 2 things at one time, all right? They're not mutually exclusive. We are an independent podcast. Guys, despite me calling you all weirdos, we would like to have more of you fucking weirdos listen to the show. So please tell your friends, anyone you know that's into cool cult films and can understand Scottish accents, send them a link to the specific show, Accept No Substitutes, and get them on board. And please rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. That helps new listeners find us. We just want to take over the world. That's all I've ever wanted, to take over the world and crush humanity under my terrible yoke. You got anything else to add?
We normally at this juncture talk about what's coming up. Now, when we last spoke of what our November episode was to be, it was a suggestion that we would look at your least favourite film of all time, Now You See Me, and its sequel, Now You See Me 2. Not Now You Don't, which
is they're idiots.
You know, Hollywood. Come on, it was right there. Or we look at Batman and Batman Returns.
Alan, for once, you know what? I'm going to take back everything I've said about our listeners.
Really?
I'm going to take back, because you're not weird, those guys. You could have punished me. You guys could have made me watch fucking Now You See Me again, but you didn't. Overwhelming demand. People have asked for Batman, the Michael Keaton 1989 film.
Now, same year as Jason Took Manhattan.
Yep.
Or, as it should have been titled, Jason Took a Boat Trip.
Jason Takes a Trip. And its sequel, Batman Returns.
Yep.
With Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Guys, instead of punishing me, you actually tell me to watch films that I actually would like to see again. Now, this worries me, because I do think that am I then going to watch these and I'm like, oh, those films aren't as good as I remember. But I remember enjoying them, and I don't have to watch Now You See Me, which, let me be clear, is one of the worst films of all time. And if you like that, then you're back in the weirdo pile. But you've made a podcast host very fucking happy. We're going to watch Michael Keaton's Batman Returns.
Yeah. What are you?
I'm Batman.
Never gets old.
Vampire Jim! ready?
Yes, no, of course.
Now we've got like a minute of us talking about fucking Jackson Brown and Neil Young's sex life.
That's alright.
Okay.
That's this podcast up and down.
By the way, that could be our next one. The sex lives of 70s singer-songwriters. Okay.